Hey guys, welcome back for another video from Bold. I am Lee and I'm sitting here today with Damon West. Damon has become a very good friend of mine and of a couple other people in the company. I got to meet you, it was just about a year ago now with Brad down in Dallas. We met you at a landscape expo and
crazy story, man. Yeah, it's so wild. I remember I got in late to Dallas that night and went to the restaurant at the Gaylord Texan where I was there to speak at a conference the next day. Y'all were there for a landscape lighting conference.
Yep.
And they wouldn't let me eat unless I was sitting at a table, and I just turned to y'all because you're right there. Like, do you mind if I sit down and eat with y'all?
Yep.
And Brad's like, yeah, here's the menu, man. I was like, okay, these guys are great. But, you know, that was one of the things that I mean, you know, you get a feeling about people,
right?
And you build relationships with people. Relationships are everything. As a keynote speaker, I go around telling my story all the time. And we'll talk about that story in a little bit, about the story of the coffee bean. But I love to learn about other people's stories, especially if I'm building a relationship with them. And when I heard the story of Bold and what y'all are doing, right, it spoke to me, man. And not be, you know, I'm a story of rebuilding my life and rebuilding myself and growing. Growth is uncomfortable, man. Growth takes place outside your comfort zone. When you told me the growth that Bold was doing and what they were stepping out into, I knew I wanted to be a part of that, right? Because I think that kind of energy feeds off each other. And I was right about that because this incredible energy, the relationship, the service, it's everything I thought it would be and more. But Bold's story is my story too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like one and one, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy because, you know, we come from a background of a lot of experience in lighting alone. You know, we took a lot of that and we stepped out on the ledge. You know, we wanted to make some changes and bring some upgrades to our system. So we started to do that. And here we are in a completely different world than where we were last year at this time. And it's been amazing. We've had the opportunity to make some new innovative things that we're doing with our fixtures, with our connection systems. And we're able to basically just recreate ourselves from the ground up. And it's really been an interesting year so far.
But I would say this though, with your journey, even though it has been a journey. It's because it's a lot of uncomfortability. You're growing, right? And you're doing something new and different.
Yeah.
You can't tell. When I said my story is kind of like your story, everybody wants me to tell the story of the coffee bean because the coffee bean is about this message that I was given from a guy when I was in a difficult place. A lot of growth was happening in my place, you know, and it goes back to Dallas, Texas. That was one of the cool things about meeting y'all in Dallas because Dallas is a very pivotal part in my journey. Because it was in Dallas, Texas back in 2009 that a jury sentenced me to life in prison for engaging in organized criminal activity. And it's crazy because it's incongruent with the guy you see in front of you today. But the guy back then was a drug addict, he was a criminal, he was a thief, and a jury sentenced me to life in prison. I got what I deserved, you know? I didn't get treated unfairly by the jury that day. But what happened to me when I was inside that Texas prison was a transformation. And I'm all about transformations. But along the way, there was a guy that gave me the story of the coffee bean. It was in Dallas County Jail. This older guy says, hey, prison's gonna be like a pot of boiling water, and you have three choices. You can be like a carrot that becomes soft in the boiling water. And we see this in life. You see people that the pressure hits them and they get weak and they break apart and they can't hold together, right? He said, you can choose to be like the egg in the pot of boiling water. You know, an egg goes in a pot of boiling water. It's got a hard outer shell, the soft liquid inside the yolk. But not too long in the boiling water, the yolk becomes hardened. And people that are eggs have hardened hearts. They've been beat down by life and they're just mad and mean and angry. And we've seen the egg before. You've probably been the egg before. I have too.
Oh, yeah.
But the guy told me you do have a third choice to be like the coffee bean. He said the coffee bean was different because the coffee bean changed the pot of boiling water into a pot of coffee. It was the change agent, Lee. And he said the power was inside the coffee bean to change the water inside the pot of boiling water. And he said, just like the power's in you, everybody has a transformational power inside them to change the world around them, right? But you've got to tap into that. That's what I saw at Bold. And I'm going to tell you something. That's the thing that really attracted me to y'all, away from the fact that we became friends throughout this journey, was that y'all are the coffee beans of lighting, man.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to be attracted to, man. That's my brand. Yeah, but that's my brand.
Yeah.
And when I find other coffee beans know when they see another coffee bean, Bold is a coffee bean. You're the one that's changing the whole way everybody else is going to do things. So many different little things that I saw along the way that we've worked together not just as a contractor, but as friends, reminds me of the story of the coffee bean.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Thank you for your energy and for being a coffee bean.
Absolutely, Damon, and it's been inspiring, to myself personally, hearing your story and getting to know you. Tell us a little bit more about that story, man. I mean, we started to.
So I started working on myself to become that coffee bean, and it didn't happen right at first, right? And anybody that goes through struggles in life, it doesn't happen right at first. But what I'm going to tell you is this: that inside of every adverse, difficult situation in life, there's an opportunity there for you to grow. An opportunity for you to become a better version of you. In fact, I believe the best version of you is on the other side of whatever adversity you face in life. But the trick is this: you have to go through the adversity to meet and shake the hand of the man or woman you were always meant to be. And that's what I did inside that prison. I met the best version of me in the hardest, difficult place, most difficult place there was. But I found out that if I could be a coffee bean in that pot of boiling water of this prison, that I could do it anywhere out there, right? I think that when we see an example of someone that's been through something very difficult, we know that we can do it too. But how do you do it, right? I mean, me telling you that I went to a prison and became a coffee bean, it's better that I tell you how I became a coffee bean.
Yep.
So I developed these rules, right? Anything in life that you're gonna have to do, you're gonna do it consistently.
Right.
Consistency is key. You get up every day, you have a routine. I'd get up every day and I would begin in gratitude. This buddy of mine named Lee Brower, he's a personal coach out there. He has an acronym for that, BIG, begin in gratitude. Okay. And that's how I would start my day every day. But there was things I had to do every day, like smile. You got to smile everywhere you go, man, because when you smile, people see you smile, they smile back. You create the positive energy. Yeah. The guy that told me the story of the coffee bean, he said you either infect the room that you walk into with your negative energy or you affect a room with positive energy. Infect or affect.
Yeah.
You can almost take it back to lighting, right?
Absolutely.
You have bad lighting, it infects your yard.
Yep.
You have great lighting, it affects your yard, right?
Exactly.
Which is what we got from our experience with Bold.
Absolutely.
A positive effect of the transformation of our yard. Another rule about being a coffee bean is servant leadership. Serve other people around you. Help raise other people up to a different station in life. When we're helping other people, that's when we're at our best. That's how we grow too. And that's what I did when I was inside that prison. I tried to help other guys become a better version of themselves. I taught them how to read, how to write, get ready for the GED test. And when the parole board came to see me in 2015, they said, there's no doubt about the change you made to yourself, Mr. West. We've seen it. But we're here today because of the change you made to the entire prison. The lady from parole that interviewed me, she said, listen, I really just have one question for you today for this parole interview. One question test. She said, if you could be remembered for being anything in life, anything at all, she said, tell me what that would be, but give it to me in just one word. Go. Lee. I knew the answer to that question. I'd been living that answer to the question the whole time I've been in that prison, transforming myself into that coffee bean. And I fired her answer back at her and I said, useful. I just want to be useful. And I can be useful inside this prison, or I can be useful in that free world again, finding more coffee beans. Cool. You remember the conversation?
Goosebumps, man.
That
Goosebumps.
you and Brad were having that night?
Yep.
And y'all were talking about being useful. That in your industry, you want to be useful.
100%.
When y'all said that night, I knew that it was ordained that we were supposed to be at that table that night. That's the answer I gave the lady from parole, and that's what you said Bold was going to be about, being useful, right? November 16, 2015, I walk out of a Texas prison. Right. Not a free man. I'm on parole. I got a little more time. I'm on parole until 2073, so I got a little more time left on parole.
Yep.
But I don't let that hold me back. What I use that for, and what I've seen that y'all use your adversity for, is perspective on what a bad day looks like, right?
Absolutely.
We all know what a bad day looks like, but sometimes we forget what the truly bad days look like. And if we just remember that experience of how things were, how tough they were, how tough was it whenever Bold first started up and stepped away from everything you were doing, right? That was a tough day, right?
A change, it was all hard, right?
But now you got something to compare the bad days to, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you realize that most of your bad days aren't really bad days. It's like when you sit in traffic. Sometimes you sit in traffic and the traffic bothers you, right?
Right.
Another time you sit in the same traffic and it doesn't bother you at all. Is it the traffic or is it you?
It's perspective.
It's always you. It's always your perspective. And so that's one of the things I've seen from my relationship working with y'all. And I've seen this time and time again, is that the perspective, the great attitude, the service, the friendship, the leadership, these are the qualities I'm looking for in life. My wife's, contracting construction company is looking for that when they do business. So I think it was ordained that we were supposed to be there tonight in Dallas, Texas.
Seems like everything just starts to happen for a reason, even just coming here to do this project. everything lined up about as perfectly as it possibly could. You know, the plans came in.
It was crazy, man. All this stuff was happening at one time. There's like 40 people running around.
It was. So I think your story has a lot to do with what we're talking to contractors about on the daily, right? You know, there's a lot of contractors out there, they don't do lighting, or they're afraid to do lighting, or they're in an industry where there's things, or, you know, ebbs and flows of being in business, and it's just tough because every day is a different battle, you know, and how you view that battle can decide how you come out the end of that day.
Sure.
Right? You know, or the end of that year on the tax side of things, you know, whatever the complication may be, you know, and our message to contractors, you know, is be bold, you know, step out on that limb, make that change that you know you need to change, and just keep pushing no matter what. And, you know, it gets better every time we chat, man. I appreciate your friendship, appreciate your business, obviously, but friendship, most importantly to me. It's been great hanging out with you for the past few days. We all appreciate having you down here. Your hospitality's been amazing. You and Kendall have been more than welcoming.
Well, I hope we lived up to the whole idea of Southern hospitality, right?
Absolutely,
Because no, it's what we try to do. But look, man, you've been great too, man. Like we've formed a bond. I've been on the road in Pennsylvania, called you up. Hey, man, I'm about 40 miles from you. Where are you today? You're like, I'm at my kid's soccer practice. I can't make it. We'll do it another time.
Right.
Maybe when I go talk to Penn State, you know, I can call you up and
100%.
we'll go out and break bread in Pennsylvania. But
Absolutely.
I've really enjoyed it, Lee. Everything working with y'all, and I like to think that we're not going to stop here. Right?
No.
We're going to keep doing more stuff. My wife's company is
Got
going to
your
be one
numbers.
result.
You're not going anywhere.
That's awesome, man. No, that's great. But it's been a real pleasure to work with y'all, and to work with somebody that has the same mindset about how they want to treat other people, how they want to be treated.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Again, we appreciate it, brother. If you guys want to learn more about Damon West and his foundation and his story, Damon, where can we catch you at?
my website is damonwest.org. That's where people go to find me for speaking opportunities or anything just about my backstory, my foundation. My Instagram, Twitter handles is @DamonWest7. And all my books can be found anywhere books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, whatever.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So you want to check him out, that's where to find him. If you like this video, drop down, click like, click subscribe, and you can also follow us on Instagram @BoldPros. And until next time, guys, be bold.
Be a coffee bean.
That's right, guys. Cheers.